Alright, so apparently there's a lot of I guess speculation is the right word about what exactly is going on because I've been too vague. Well, there's a difference between vague and discretion. And I may be a lot of things, but I'm extremely discreet. So I guess that's one of those things. Now, as for whether or not Okay, let's put it this way. Somebody asked a very valid question, which is a question that I feel I cannot answer without the help of my textbook, which is right here. So let's answer the question. Where is it? This is from my human sexuality class. Love and communication in intimate relationships? No. Sexual behaviors? Wow, that's an interesting diagram. Sexual orientations. Okay. Now, many think of homosexuality as sexual contact between individuals of the same sex. However, this definition is incomplete. It does not take into account two important dimensions: the context within which the sexual contact is experienced, and the feelings and perceptions of the people involved. Nor does it encompass all the meanings of the word homosexual, which can refer to erotic attraction, sexual behavior, emotional attachment, and definition of self. So, that's what I'm going to try and explain, because everybody is always asking me whenever I have sex with someone and I define him as straight, they say, how can he be straight if he had sex with you? That answer is not necessarily simple, but not necessarily less complicated. I guess that means that we should define them as bisexual. But how do we define bisexuality? Several different types, I'm reading from the book now, several different types of bisexuality exist. A real orientation, a transitory orientation, a transitional orientation, and a homosexual denial. I love that homosexual denial is in the textbook. I think that it gives a lot of credence to the fact that, well, a lot of gay people just assume that bisexual people are in a transition phase onto something else. It says that bisexual women are much more likely to occur than men. It also says that even lesbian women, in a study done in 2006, are turned on by men. They just prefer lesbian relationships because of the gender roles. Bisexual behavior can also be transitory, because I don't understand this one, so I'm just going to read straight from the textbook. A temporary involvement by people who are actually heterosexual or homosexual. Transitory same-sex behavior can occur in single-sex boarding schools and prisons. However, the people involved consider themselves heterosexual even when involved in same-sex behavior, and they resume heterosexual relationships when opportunities for such are again available. Bisexuality can also be a transitional state in which a person is changing from one orientation to another. This person will remain in the new orientation. So, the question is, because I've tried to state over and over again that I don't know. It really isn't any of my business, regardless, about someone else's orientation. Clearly, if a straight man is having sex with me, that doesn't make him bisexual. It also doesn't make him gay. Maybe he's a straight man who's always been attracted to women, but something about me changed his mind about the whole men thing. I don't know. I feel that, and I don't want this to be seen as some kind of bragging, because it's not by any means, because usually you brag about it if you understand it or know it, and clearly I don't. It almost seems like something about me, because of my comfort in heterosexual environments and my tendency to not really discuss being gay, makes them more likely to ask me questions. I don't really volunteer any information about my sex life or people I have sex with unless people ask me. If people ask me, then I'll tell them. And the funny thing is that because I don't talk about it, they typically ask me. I know. I have sex with too many men who have not defined themselves in the orientation that I myself define myself as. That's a lot of myself. Sorry. It's been a long day. I've been doing math for like 3 hours and I only got like a quarter of it done. That's the thing. How is he not gay? Gay doesn't really mean has sex with men. Gay has come to mean a lifestyle, a subculture. Gay means you like Madonna and you go disco dancing. It means you support marriage equality and you go to pride marches and things like that. There are plenty of men who have sex with men who aren't comfortable with gay. And I think that's really where the confusion is. It always cracks me up whenever gay men, and I think I've said this before, whenever gay men say, I want a guy who's straight acting. And I don't really know what that means, really, because the definition of straight is they have sex with women. So straight acting, they act like they have sex with women? Is that what that means? To me, it doesn't make sense, but apparently it does to some people. You know, whenever people are like, I'm straight acting, does that mean you don't talk about having sex with other men? With other men? Does that make sense? You don't talk about having sex with men with other men. You act like you're fine. So, this was my attempt at answering that question because so many people ask me that question. And the truth is that I don't have the answer. There's no definitive study on orientation. There's no consensus. But I know this. When someone tells me they're straight when I'm having sex with them, I believe it, but I take it with a grain of salt.